Liz Cheney, money in politics. This one is more expensive than the one we had the last time, and it was more expensive than the one before. But now the big question is all of this money that's coming in that you don't know where it's coming from. David Axelrod was on this broadcast last week and was very critical. He said we ought to know where these funds are coming from. And Republicans say, well, people have a right to give money anonymously.
Well, people give money anonymously to both parties. Frankly, I think that it would be a better system if we had no limits on contribution, but a requirement for mandatory transparency. And mandatory, we know within 24 hours you've got to disclose who your donors are. But those aren't the rules right now. That's not the law. And David Axelrod
you would like to see the rules changed.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was an opponent of McCain-Feingold. I'm not thrilled with the system that we've got now. However, what David Axelrod said to you was stunning. When you told him what's his evidence that there's foreign money going to the Chamber of Commerce, he said, well, what's your evidence that there isn't? And I think it is really an important thing for people to realize that the President of the United States at this point, when he goes out and he makes this charge, which is completely baseless, what he's really doing is attempting to limit people's exercise of their First Amendment. I believe he's attempting to chill political speech. He's hoping that by making this allegation of illegality, that people will stop contributing. And I think that's shameful, and I think it's wrong, and there's no evidence that this has gone on. So the Democrats ought to get themselves focused on the substance of these issues.
There is plenty of evidence that the foreign money is going to the Chamber of Commerce.
There's no evidence that the foreign money is going into our political campaign, which is exactly the charge that's been made.
Because nobody knows if it is or not. Look,
Governor Dean, you and I can make any charge that we want and then assert that there's got to be evidence against it. That's not how this works.
Political campaigns is outrageous. This is really undermining and harming our democracy. One of the worst Supreme Court decisions ever was John Roberts' this notion that corporations are people. It's not in the Constitution. Whatever happened to strict constructionism? Nowhere in the Constitution says a corporation is a person. Nowhere. This is one of the worst cycles I have ever seen because of the amount of money in an off-year election. It's appalling.
Well, it is a worse cycle from your perspective, I'm sure, Governor Dean, because the massive amounts of money, because the Republicans are able to mobilize more money than the Democrats.
From people like the Koch brothers and Rupert Murdoch. We don't want the right wing buying elections, and that's what's going on here.
You just want the left wing buying elections? I mean,
we don't
George
want anybody
Soros
buying elections.
started all
Under
of this with MoveOn.org, which was a big backer of yours, Governor Dean. So I think that,
Who was the big backer of mine?
George Soros, MoveOn.org.
No,
Governor Dean, I think that the notion...
Neither was MoveOn.org, as a matter of fact, just to set the record straight.
Yeah, well, the notion, Governor Dean, that somehow people don't have the right to express their political views under our Constitution
do in public,
by contributing...
not anonymously, and corporations don't have that right.
The Constitution says you've got the right to freedom of speech.
The Chamber of Commerce has become an finance arm of the Republican Party.
Do you have evidence, Governor Dean, do you have evidence that any foreign money from the Chamber of Commerce is going into the American election right now?
That is not the issue. The issue is we have a right to know if foreign money is going into the... We have a right to know if foreign money is going. We don't know, and we ought to know. We have a right to know what the Koch brothers are doing. We do know how much money Rupert Murdoch of Fox gave, $2.25 million between the Chamber and the RGA. This is a sick thing. The Tea Party people don't like this either. That's one of the things about the Tea Party people. They think corporations have too much influence in American life, and they do. And this is going to have to be a real fix of campaign finance reform. Citizens United was an outrage.
Governor Dean, look, if the President of the United States is going to stand up and make a charge, you can try to throw spaghetti here and see what sticks and hits. The President said there is foreign money from the Chamber of Commerce going into this election cycle to Republican candidates. That's not true, it's not fair, and it's an abomination and a shame that he's attempting to chill First Amendment rights.
What he has said is there's foreign money going into the Chambers of Commerce, and the Chamber of Commerce has proudly stood up for giving millions and millions of dollars to the right wing of the Republican Party. That is, in fact,
try to clean up what he said.
That is what's happening.
Governor, you can try to clean up what he said, but that's not what he said.
Thank you all.